Today's inspiration is this sign, the God Bless America sign. I ended up putting together a kit. If you want to purchase the kit, I added that link to our group yesterday, so feel free to check that out. So to get us started, I've already wired the frame. I thought I would do that before coming live, and I left just this one section for us to do together just as a review. But today we're only using one mesh, and that is a ombre patriotic. It's a red, white, and blue, and I'll grab it in just a second. So there was really no need for me to change the color of the pipe cleaners, although I will tell you in the kit I am doing the red, white, and blue. But for the purpose of today, I just grabbed what I had the most of, and I just grabbed red. All right, so let's go ahead and add our last three in. And this part's pretty simple once you start doing it. So I'm going on those inner two rails, and I'm going dead center, and I just kind of meet it halfway with my two ends there, lining them up, and then I just give it a couple of twists. And just like before, we know we've done a good job if when we do that, it doesn't move. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the outside two rails here, and I'm going to center it between the pipe cleaner and this little crossbar. So I'm just coming in between, doing the same thing, just like so, and just giving it a couple of twists. All right. And then there we have it like that. So now we have all of them all wired up. Today I want to maybe introduce or teach you a new technique. You may have heard of this one before, but have you ever heard of what's called the cruffle technique? It's also called woodland ruffle. The reason people call it cruffle is because it's a combination of the ruffle but with curls. So you will need something to hold on to for your ruffle curled up, and I always just use like a clothespin. I think I got these from the Dollar Tree. So anything that you can just squeeze and hold. I'm going to move our sign over here. So let me grab my scissors. And to get started, I like to lay my scissors just to kind of hold it down for me. I'm going to roll it up first, and I like to do about maybe 5 rolls. So literally you want to kind of lay it and keep it straight so you almost can flatten that first one just so you can get it really tight. And then we're going to roll it about 5 times. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you take your little clip. Some people use chip clips. You're just going to clip it to hold it. And then we're going to rotate around and do that same thing. Okay, so we're going to roll. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to ruffle it up the middle. So these are cut at 30 inches. And this one you can either start with the inner or the outer. I thought I would try starting with the outer today. So we're just going to drop it down straight in the middle. And then we're just going to twist a couple of times just to make sure it's secure. Your cruffle like that. If you wanted more curl, you could do more than 5. I've seen some people, some people don't even measure when they're doing it. They just grab it and kind of roll on their chest. I don't know how they do that, but I'm more precise with mine. So I like to actually take my time and roll it. You end up getting the same design. This one is just more, I would say, precise and neat looking, making sure, because it will try to overlap. And you can let it overlap, and you'll see in just a minute. I'll show you a couple of options. So right now I'm kind of letting them go side by side, but you can see how it still wants to lay down just a bit, and that's okay. So this is what we have so far. We are going to use some ribbons. Let me move this out of the way. So I have 2 patriotic ribbons, as you saw in the picture. And these are cut at 13 inches. So we're going to use This one's more like the light base, and it has the stars in the glitter color. So I really love when they have the glitter. The rest of our ribbons are 1.5 inch. So these are cut at 18 inches because we're going to make some half bows again. And then we have it also in the blue. So all of the 1.5 inch ribbons are cut at the 18 inches. Let me grab the sign. I'm thinking today we won't put any ribbon on the inside because it's so, with the sign is so big. And then we may put like a bow and have a bow dangling down. What we'll probably do is leave one of the ties open at the bottom. So really you don't need a full 12 pieces. You really only need 11. And for me, it's really not necessary to put ribbon tails there, although some people do, but I feel like sometimes that's a waste when you're putting the same thing in the back that you're going to put in the front. Let's start on the outside and then we'll decide for sure if we're not going to do any ribbon tails there. And we're just going to do like before. I already dovetailed it, so these in half. And today I'm thinking I want to alternate and have the stars and stripes with the solid, then stars and stripes solid. And then wherever we end up, I'll just leave that one open and that'll be for the bow. Let's see, do we want to do, really doesn't matter because the blue and the red will be side by side on either side of the next patriotic one, so it really doesn't matter. And we're going to do probably about 2.5 since I cut these a little bit larger. So I'm measuring 2.5 for this one. And let's see how that looks, and then I'll turn it around and show you what it looks like. And as you can already see, I have enough tails so that when I spread it, it's still hanging nice and long for the half bow right there. And so that's the 18. So if I did not want it to hang that long, even with the 18, I can make that loop a little bigger, but I think that's okay. All right, and so now we're going to grab the other patriotic and do the same thing. Measure slightly, place it in, and then we just twist it a couple of times. This is what it looks like if I don't twist. You see how one side is the wrong side and the other is the right? So that's why it's so important to just twist the other way, like that. And then you fan it out. This sign, I left one spot open. So right here, this is the one we'll put our bow. And I'm thinking since this sign is a little heavier and larger, let's reinforce it in all 4 corners. So I'm going to do just like I did last week with my staple gun, because this sign is a 1/4 inch thick. So I always recommend that you check that first before you staple our pipe cleaner in half. And I'll go ahead and show you too, if you didn't want to fold it in half, let me show you another technique. You could just fold it over a little bit like this, and that way you only have one pipe cleaner that you have to wrap around. I do that sometimes when I know that the mesh is really thick. I'm just going to go ahead and fold it in half, and I'll zoom back in. And at this point, you want to take your pipe cleaner and just fold it in half, position it on your sign and staple it, and then let's do a couple of twists on the pipe cleaner. So we're just going to staple and do a couple of twists. Doing a couple of twists after I get it on there. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. And I am eyeballing that inner. I'm going to only take off 2 pipe cleaners for now. We might go back and add some ribbon on the top and bottom because I noticed there is a slight space with the sign, but we'll see. But we will remove the pipe cleaners that will be on the left and the right. Get that pipe cleaner out of the way there. All right, we're going to take off the left and the right. So remember, here is the one I left open. Thing here. And I know we don't need anything on this one. So it's really the ones at the bottom and the top that I'm going to keep just for now in case we might want to put something there, but we'll decide. Okay. So now I need to take, I'm going to leave this one. I'm pulling them up right here, leaving those 2, leaving this one, but we're going to take this one right here off. So I'm going to give it just a couple more twists. And then I'm going to cut it off with my wire cutters there. All right, and then now the fun part. We get to feed the sign. We'll tell you it works if you can do opposite corners, and that way you can still situate it. Feeding it down through the mesh, and I like to go around the pipe cleaner that I cut off. So that gives me a placeholder for it. Except this one's trying to bend on me, as you can see, so I couldn't get it straight in. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to turn it over just for a moment to show you. So this is what I try to do. I like to go around at least 1 or 2 crossbars. So it looks like the way I fed it in, I'm going actually around 2. Okay, so I'm going to check it. And then I'm going to pull it slightly, but not all the way yet, because I want to make sure that it's straight. So I just tucked it just a little bit. And then now I'm going to do this opposite side. That's what I was telling you. It's better to do corner to corner. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going through the mesh. Just like so. And now I get to play with it a little bit. So I'm going to tighten it barely, because I see where it needs to come up some and over this way. All right, so now just getting it center, and I'm thinking I might not even need to put any ribbon because there's really not a whole lot of space remaining, but we'll see. All right, so I think I like where that one is, so I'm going to make sure it's around, and it is not around the crossbar, so I'm just going to tuck it around, and now I'm tightening it up just a little. All right, now let's do this side. I'm checking. Oh, good. I did go around a crossbar. All right. I'm going to go ahead and twist. It's looking pretty good so far. I just hope it's straight. All right. Let me go ahead and tighten this one that I didn't do. I'll tighten it a little bit more. You can see I grabbed it, applied a little bit more tension. And then now we have this corner left. Okay, go down in the mesh And I can go ahead and tell you guys, I am not going to put probably any ribbon here because you see how it's covering and that's going to be in the way. So let me go ahead and tie that off. So we're going to cut that off. And for me, I like for it to be symmetrical. So I wouldn't put a ribbon down at the bottom if I'm not going to put one up here. All right, and now where's the other side? Got one. This is when, if you only have one to contend with, it's even better. Then like to do is come back to the corner because you can see some of the mesh is hiding. So we want to just make sure our mesh looks the way we want it, coming from underneath. Okay, and then we can fix our ribbon back. So we're probably going to cut that because see now we only have those two, so we're going to cut those. And then I'll fix all the ribbon from where I turned it over. All right, but that's what we have so far. Take this off. And if you coordinate your pipe cleaners, you can hide them better. And I'm literally just tucking them straight down into the design so you can't even see it. And I need to pull out this. There we go. I thought that looked weird. It's like, why is it all tucked under me? Okay. So you can go around and decide which curls you want to come out. I'm not going to pull this curl out because it's probably going to cover the sign. So I'm going to leave that one tucked under. But you do have that flexibility. And to make a bow, and I'm thinking the bow, like I was telling you, will hang here and we'll have some tails hanging down from it. So let's see, our sign, I think our sign is about 12 inches wide. So I'm thinking maybe we have that bow within this area. So I may keep my wreath here for just a minute so we can measure. So let me grab my bow maker that I love. Y'all know I love my easy bow maker. So there's my easy bow. I think we're going to put some of that patriotic ribbon that I was showing you, that 2.5 inch. Let's put some of that on the bottom. And I'm thinking we want some really nice long tails to hang from it, right? I think that would be good. All right, so let's do maybe 15 inches on each side. So I'm going to cut a strip that's about 30 inches. And that's why I love working on a mat, because if you're doing any measuring, you can measure right there as you're working on your project. And let's go ahead and do our dovetail. So remember, you fold and you're cutting from the folded edge to those open edges.
Okay, let's take our ribbon and we're going to scrunch it and place it inside the bow maker.
So those are my 15-inch tails that you see hanging right there. And we're going to do about a 4.5. So I'm going to just scrunch my ribbon up so I can hold on to it just like that. And remember, with the bow makers, and I don't know if y'all have started using any bow makers, but it's all about the twist and the pinch, and the bow maker will do it for you. We're going to make a fairly large loop. So we're going to go with a little over 4. Okay, so this one's, I would say, about almost 4.5. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. And let's go a little bit larger so that we have enough room to tuck it. So let's do 4.5. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. And because we have 4 colors, let's do 2 pieces on of each ribbon so that we have 1 loop of each color. So this will be my first loop and this will be my second one. Okay, Today we're just going to make a traditional bow where all the tails go the same way. All right, and then we're going to alternate the colors. So let's get all of our other ribbons here. Okay. So let's see, we can do the blue next. I think I want to do the red next. So here's that red. All right, let's do another tail. So I'm just measuring that 30 inches. So we're going to have beautiful tails hanging down here.
All right, let's dovetail the red ribbon. We're placing it in the bow maker, and let's repeat the same step, creating our loops, but we're going to take them in about 4.25, so just a little bit. Take each loop as you go. We're going to take it in so that it's a little bit shorter. We still want to see the bottom layer peeking out from the ribbon, and then we're going to snip it off. We're done with that ribbon. Now we need to decide what we're going to place as our next ribbon. Let's grab the Patriotic ribbon in the 1.5 inch. Let's cut another piece at 30 inches so we can create our tails. We're going to go ahead and dovetail it, place it in.
All of the tails are coming down in the same direction. The tails are all the same size. And then I'm making the loops just a little bit smaller as we come in. So I twist, and then I'm looping it, and I'm using my little measuring here. Now I'm not fluffing this time as I go. However, let me give you an idea of what the fluffing, because normally I do fluff as I go so I can see it build up. So you can kind of see what the bow is looking like. I'm going just a little bit smaller each time. Not as much as I did last time, because I really want all of these loops sort of protruding out at the same distance. And then because I'm cutting the center, I either need to cover it at the end or have a plan for hiding it. We can hide it with the center loop. Okay, so that's that one. And I'm trying to decide. Let's see. Pull that out. And we have our blue. So we'll do the same thing. I think I almost want to end with the I think I want to end with that glitter on top. So I might switch that real quick. That's the beauty of this. So let's do that.
And that's what I love about being the designer. You can change your mind. Even right now, if you're creating this wreath, you can decide what you want your bow to look like and what order you want your bow to appear. So I'm just going to remove the Patriotic ribbon, and I'm grabbing my chip clip at first, but then I decided to place it in the Bodabra just to hold it so that I can continue with the remaining part of the bow.
That way we'll end with some glitter. I think that's going to look even better on the top. I love how we're not stuck in stone with our designs. And we may have to take our patriotic loops in a bit, but we'll see how it turns out. All right. So I'm using the previous loop to help me measure. But I'm really going in about not even a half, I would say about 0.25 inches each time.
And you can see that I'm using my Easy Bow Maker, the measurement, to decide how far to bring the loops out. Notice the Bodabra doesn't have that.
All right, so let's just grab this. We don't have to really worry about keeping it together because I may have to go a little smaller. Oh yeah, I think that looks better on the top. Now that I know this is going to be the top layer, this is what I was telling you. You have to have a plan because right now our center is going to show with all these little cuts. So what we're going to do, we're going to twist, then we're going to bring it in. And then go ahead and get your loops ready. Bring this one in a little bit more because I want it to really show. So this one is a little over 3, about 3.5 almost. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to add a center loop to cover all of my mechanics. You always want to have a plan for how you're going to cover your mechanics so that your customer or whomever you don't see how you put it all together. So we're going to do one more loop and bring it across, but we're not going to go big. We're going to make it a smaller loop. Let me grab, I love my zip ties. This is an 8-inch zip tie. I ordered these from Amazon. I think I got 1,000 of them for like $10. Go ahead and cut this. All right, and what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and leave him out for just a minute because I need to pick it up. Keeping it all together. Okay, so now I'm going to take that center and I'm going to turn it under, cut extra, cut off some. So now I'm going to pinch just like that and make a little center. We'll go back and cover it with a piece of a ribbon. So I also need something to attach this, don't I?
You can use a pipe cleaner, a zip tie, or even floral wire to do so.
Around my hand here. And you don't see anything, I'm sorry, y'all. All right, there we go. I was trying not to drop it. All right, hold on, let me grab another pipe cleaner. I have a red one right here. And I like to get my pipe cleaners from either Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I've got them at a really good rate recently from Michael's. All right, so I have my pipe cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. This is pretty much halfway. All right, so I'm going to tighten, tighten, tighten. And then I even use this little, what are these called? Little pliers, needle nose pliers. Then I have these little cutters that allow me to go really close. I think I got these out of the jewelry section at Hobby Lobby. Now we're going to do one extra step, you guys. I don't want personally that zip tie to show under there. Let's see. Ribbon that we didn't get to use, and we're going to cover it. So I already turned on the glue gun. When I saw this was going to be neat, I'm going to cut about 3 inches. It's going to fold over in the middle, one side, do the same on the other. Y'all, I'm used to my other sizes. Let's see, I might have to do a longer piece. All we're going to do, I'm wrapping it on the inside of the ball all the way around. Oh, yeah. And it did. Do you see how I did that?
And I'm just using my glue gun to glue that piece down to secure it together.
And I use a little glue from my project, so I'm just putting a little glue down. Whoops.
I'm just checking to make sure that the glue is not going to get on my hand, and I'm holding it tightly just for a few seconds.
All right, so while that's drying, let's put that back up, turn it off. It's all pretty much dry. So while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and just take a minute and get all my, because I had already started fluffing, I saw it taking shape, so I knew how it was going to look. Pull my pipe cleaner down, fluff this one this way. And then I like to go in and trim the individual pieces if they're kind of sticking out. So let's see. That one's not very long, you can see. This blue one is. I don't want anyone to really see that. So I just lift the layers. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just trim that off some so that the customer doesn't see all that. They don't need to see all of our mechanics. And I do that while I'm fluffing. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, lifting each layer. And if there's any extra sticking out that I don't want showing, I just literally take my scissors and trim. And it's only because of adding all the different colors. If we had one color, we wouldn't have all this. Okay, and that was a big piece right there. That's just, you know, helped us hold on to it in the bow maker. So we know where it's going. It's going right. Let me trim from this way. Okay. All right, and there's our bow. We just need to get it on the wreath. So let's grab the wreath. Right here. So let me move my camera a little bit. So we know where we want it. We're going to put it right here in this area where we left that pipe cleaner. So let's go ahead and cut that off. Get rid of it. Just use these cutters since they're sitting right here. All right, so we're going to tuck it in, and I'm literally going to use these 2 pipe cleaners. And I see one more piece I want to trim right here. Let me grab this. Because once I get it on, it'll probably be hard to trim. So I better do that now. Okay. Now this should be pretty easy because all I'm doing is I'm literally putting 1 pipe cleaner around the existing pipe cleaner, and then I'm taking the other one and I'm going under the bottom of it. So I'm feeding it through, push, push, pushing. But remember, we don't want to pull too tight, because if you pull too tight, you suck your bow in. Start twisting it. All right. And then once it's on there, I'm going to pull the bow back out so I can fluff it, get all the tails where I want them. And once it's on there, if I need to tighten it anymore, I can.
And you just want to take your hands and fluff out your loops and take your fingers, go through each of those loops, reposition them as needed to make sure the bow looks exactly the way you want. And then also do the same thing with those tails, making sure they are nicely fluffed.
Always try to pull the colors opposite each other, so when you look across like that, really putting your fingers inside is how you can fluff and reshape them. And then you pull all the tails down. And if they're too long, once you hang it on the door, if it's too long, you can certainly trim them up a bit. Let me see if I can turn it around and show you guys. Can y'all see that? Ooh, ooh. I'm trying to hold this part up so you can really see it, the bow.
I really hope you enjoyed this wreath tutorial for the God Bless America wreath kit. If you already have this kit, feel free to share your wreath after you finish it. You can post it right here in the comments. If you would love to purchase this kit, be sure to visit my Etsy shop. itsfaith.me/wreath kits. And I have just a couple more of these available. I'd love for you to have one too. And if you love tutorials like this and you love seeing me create wreaths, you can come join us in my creative circle. If you visit www.learnfromfaith.com, you can get a weekly tutorial just like this. All right, you guys, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those for us. Thanks, everyone. And as always, be blessed.